Hey, what's up? This is Gary from Raz Rentals. Today I'm going to talk about Wave 4 of Masters of the Universe Origins. I've really been excited for this wave because Ninjor, I don't have an original Ninjor because he's always been too expensive. And, Mattel has done such a great job with this line because they obviously know how to get hardcore collectors here. Like, they must know that a ton of people want Ninjor and they want Scarecrow, and you're not going to want to pay hundreds of dollars to buy them loose, and giving you the option to buy them for only $15 a piece is just perfect. It's a great marketing ploy. They're doing an amazing job here. So I can't wait to talk about Ninjor and the other guys. I like those guys too, but I have the original one. So this one, I'm really excited about this. So first, let's talk about the packaging. Just like all the other Masters of the Universe Origins figures, they all come in the standard, we call it like a blister card, where you have the card in the back with the exploding red rocks, and then you got your cool little bubble on the front there to hold your guy. And then on the back, they all have a very nice picture, and then like a cross sell or the other guys in the line. So let's show all the different artwork for all four of these guys. First, you have Ninjor, and this is just awesome. Him holding that really awesome bow and arrow, and he's shooting at King Radnor, and Clam Champ is down here going in for the attack. Now down here you have, armed with array of ninja weapons. All those weapons are cool, and I'm glad they're all included here. But stuff like this, you're like, is that really an action feature? Twist into powerful battle positions. You mean just pose them like a normal action figure? Okay. Up next, you have a really awesome picture of TriKlops up here, and I can never remember is that Screech or is that Zor? I can never remember what the name of the birds are, but he's, you have TriKlops here, and he's shooting a laser like Cyclops at He-Man and Battle Cat over there. Oh, the other bird's over here. So that's awesome. And I got this wave from Big Bad Toy Store, and I really like getting these figures from them because they're always unpunched. Because you don't want these punched, because you want to be able to see this work of art without a giant hole right in the middle of it. Let's see here. Turn visor for different eye to spy for Skeletor. Same thing. Twist into powerful battle positions. Okay. Next up we have Stratos, and look at that. That just looks amazing. Him floating in the air with all the other bird people of Avion. That's fantastic. Down here, clip wings on arms. Well, that's simple enough. And next we have Hordak, and Hordak might have the best picture of all, just because you get to see all these other amazing Horde villains, or villains of the evil Horde, like Modulok and what the heck's his name? Mantana and Leech and Grizzlor and the Horde troopers up there. Like, that just looks awesome. And check that out. Fit crossbow into hand. Wow! So all four of these guys come with a very cool looking mini comic. Like, the artwork in this looks pretty awesome. I haven't read any of the mini comics yet, so I can't really tell you how these stories are. But it's just neat because, every single one of these, they always throw in all the characters from the wave inside of here, so you could see them all in action. I'm a big comic guy too. I need to sit down and read these. And here's Wave 4, all free from their plasticky prison, all equipmented up and ready for battle. Like, look at these guys. These are awesome. Like, I think we're really starting to, get into such a nice spot with Masters of the Universe where, you're getting so many awesome figures. I mean, this line has, like, a remake of one of the characters from the first wave of the original Masters of the Universe, and we also get one from, like, one of the very last waves. It's just an amazing assortment of action figures, and I can't wait to see what keeps coming out after wave. I think we've seen wave 5 and 6, so I can't wait to see who's on the roster for wave 7. Personally, I'm crossing my fingers for some Snake Men, but yeah, like, these guys just look great. Like, I'm really excited to finally get a Ninjor here. And I'll show how Ninjor looks next to an original He-Man, in case you were planning on just getting Ninjor by himself to, like, fill in that spot in your Masters of the Universe retro line. It's tough because you want to say Classics, but Classics was a completely different line. But, what can you do? So I'll show how he compares with the original guys, and I will just show how these guys compare with their actual original figures, because I actually own an original TriKlops Hordak and Stratos. because all these guys have the same body build, they all have the same articulation. So I'll just go over the articulation with Ninjor because, yeah, he's just awesome, and I want to see more of him. You know, it's like I said, this is really cool to finally fill in this spot in my collection, sort of. All right, so you have a ball-jointed neck, so the head will go all over the place, unless maybe the shoulders will stop it at some point. Yeah, it seems like it's pretty good. You have rotation, and you have a hinge in the shoulders. You have a swivel and a hinge in the elbows. You have a swivel and a hinge in the wrists. You're able to twist the waist. You have no upper body articulation, which is fine because, you know, these guys are muscle guys. And if you had like a point of articulation in here, it would make their upper torsos look all weird. The hip joints here, they're ball joints, so you can rotate them forward, back, to the side. And unfortunately, you don't have like a hip cut, so you can't really twist that. That's kind of fine though, because you're able to twist down here at the knee, and you also have a hinge at the knee. And you also have a boot cut, so you're able to twist that there. So you should still be able to get them into some pretty dynamic poses. And down at the ankle, you have a hinge, and you have ankle rockers. Now, I will point out this, though. When I was going over my Landshark video, I noticed that it's very tough to actually get these guys in a way that they can actually sit down flat on their butts in the Landshark. So I will point that out, that it looks okay, like you're getting some decent rotation there. But when you're actually trying to get them to sit in something, you know, you might not have as much luck as you were hoping. Now, here's something pretty cool that all these guys come with. This is this paper that tells you where all the removable parts are. Because, you know, to be honest with you, I've never really looked into it that much because I've never really swapped the parts. And I was always kind of wondering myself, what parts can you switch on these guys? And now you know. Shoulders, hands, the boot, and you can switch out the lower torsos and the heads. So first up, I'm going to talk about Ninjor. Now, the original Ninjor came out way back in 1987, which was pretty close to the end of the original Masters of the Universe line. This one's a little different than that one because the original one had a cloth mask and a cloth cloak, and you could actually take the cloth mask off, and you could actually see his face underneath. And but yeah, like not having that ability is perfectly fine with me because I still think that this guy looks awesome. You could have possibly made this guy a deluxe figure and included two heads, one of his regular face and the one with the mask on it. But the way it is, I'm perfectly fine with it because look at that face. Like, he looks like an evil ninja. He looks awesome. And I really like the color of this guy. I really like the red contrasting with the black. Like, it's such a stark image, and I don't know, it's awesome. And I love the emblem on his chest of that dragon wrapped around that sword. That's all cool. So I'm just gonna say it, this guy would be perfect for a Sub-Zero or Scorpion custom. I mean, come on, look at him, he looks awesome. I love the way that his brow is sculpted. Like, he looks so angry and so like evil. Like, he looks great. What's really awesome about this guy too is that on the back here you have different slots, so you can actually put his weapons there. So you don't have a spot for the bow and arrow, but you can put his sword in there, and you can put his nunchakus, his nunchucks here, and that is awesome. And I'm going to talk a little more about them in a second. But you know, I was always curious too, like why does he have like the beast feet, or like what do you call these? Are these demon feet? These Skeletor feet? Like I think this is cool, but like I don't know. It just seems kind of funny or weird that a ninja would have them. You would think that he would have more of the soft round feet like a Stratos or something like that. So yeah. But like I said, really awesome. It's really cool getting this guy, just like it was really awesome getting Scarecrow too. Alright, so Ninjor has some pretty awesome accessories. First you have the tech bow, and this is great. You know, it's such a weird stylized bow and arrow. Like, what's up with this? Is that like a piece of metal? Is this like a whole metal arrow? Or is that just kind of put there to strengthen the, you know, the stick of this arrow? I don't know. Or like the string is like, kind of big. Like it's very interesting and very different from every other bow and arrow you'd ever see. Not to mention the sight up here. That's cool. And on the other side, though, like it's more simple. You don't have all those little bits of detail. Up next, you have his sword, and that's pretty cool looking. Like, I like that I like that he actually has his own sword, and it's not just like a repaint of TriKlops' sword, or or even this is even different than Fisto's sword. Nope, I was wrong. I looked it up, and the original Ninjor sword is the exact same as Jitsu's. It's just silver. And last, you have a very awesome set of nunchucks, and these are great too because look, they actually have a plastic chain. Very cool. So you can very easily put these weapons inside of his hands. He has a very good grip for both of them. For the, see, the bow and arrow. How would you put this in here? Check that out. He can hold that bow and arrow, his tech bow, very easily. Looks awesome. So if you were curious how this guy looked with an original He-Man because you didn't feel like paying the hundreds of dollars to buy a complete retro Ninjor and you just wanted to shell out $14 for this guy, here you go. Here's what he looks like next to original He-Man. And I think he matches extremely well. Like, you can get him in that squat down position, and yeah, he just looks great next to him. Like, it doesn't look jarring or off-putting or anything like that. And I think that unlike a lot of the other Masters of the Universe Origins figures, his color scheme works really well with the classic, well, the retro He-Man. Because, a lot of the other Origins figures, they always give them, like, very bright or almost like neon colors sometimes. But because he has black and this dark, deep red, like, it's not too bright, and I think that matches your retro figures a lot better. Same thing goes for Scarecrow. I never reviewed him whenever I got him, but, like, because the colors on him and Ninjor are so dark, they just fit in a lot more with this original He-Man. And, this would cost you a ton of money putting this together, but now because of the Origins line, you can do this relatively easy and cheap. Well, maybe not with Scarecrow. For whatever reason, he's still, like, tough to come by. So next up is TriKlops, and TriKlops, the original one was released way back in 1983, so he was a part of the second line. And even back then, he was just really cool. Like, he has a cool design, and he just had a very cool action feature gimmick. Like, it's a very simple idea, but it's a great idea because he's very memorable. And his colors and everything like that look pretty great. Even mine is relatively clean. A lot of those Wave 1 Masters of the Universe Origins figures were very sloppy, but this one, so far, these figures are actually pretty nice. Now, the ability is a little tight up here. Sometimes you see that? Move your head when you're trying to twist the top here. Sometimes you might have to hold it in place while you're twisting the eye. But, yeah, it works very well. So here's TriKlops next to the original TriKlops. Obviously, they're very similar, but the colors are just a little different. Like, this is more of like a lime green, and that's a very, I guess more of like a dark orange. Or maybe a bright orange. I don't know what I'm talking about. This is more subdued and darker, and this green is more of like a grass green. It's cool that you have like different spots on here, like the armbands are actually painted now. That looks great. One of the biggest differences here is that he has a completely different expression on his face. Like, the new one, he's got these grating teeth, and the original one, he's just got this angry grimace. So which do you like better? Do you like him showing his teeth or just angry mouth closed? In general, though, like, the shape of everything is very similar. Sometimes TriKlops is kind of like stuck in a position where he's looking down. Yeah, you see that? You see how his head is like always constantly looking down? That kind of stinks. So it's nice on the new one that you can actually have him look all over the place. He can look up. And, like, some of the details are just a lot cleaner. like the hair on the back of the head. And but like both sets of eyes look pretty good. I don't know. Both are very cool. They both do their job very well. Some of the details on the original one are a lot sharper, like especially here on his armor. Like that's a lot more clear. You can make that out a lot easier. He even has the place where you would hold a sword in the same spot. So like they're doing a very good job of trying to be faithful here to the original ones. The only thing is that, like, you know, a lot of these, like I feel like this loincloth should be a little fuller. It looks like his butt cheeks are like sticking out a little bit there. It's just like I love the original Masters of the Universe toys, but you know, obviously the way they built the legs isn't the best. Lots of times they fall over. I don't remember this. His legs seem very stiff. I don't know if this is one of the ones I fixed. I had to use like a, what do you call it, like an eye hook or something like that to try to fix him. It is just kind of cool to actually have your guy stand up straight and he doesn't fall unless you mess with him. And like I said too, like this head is always pointing down, and this one you can look all around. Now, it's not really showing up that well on video, but like the differences in green is very noticeable in person. So, like I said, this is more of a grass green, and this is more of a lime green, or like a guacamole green. And I kind of prefer the grass green color. It's just a more pleasant looking green. Like this is almost like a puke green. But the sword is roughly the same size. The new one is a little wider. There's actually more detail on the old one. You see inside of those like little wings or whatever, there's actually a little more detail there, where this one is just flat. And then the downside is that on the original one, you have all these little holes. Of course, the major action feature from back in the day, after you get past the spinning eyeballs, was the the ability to slash somebody with his sword. And on the new guys, you just don't have that. And up next, we have the brand new Hordak, and this guy looks awesome. Like he looks great. I love the color scheme on him too. It's just as cool as the original one. Now, when I was a kid, I never watched She-Ra, so I think I only remember him from that original toy, or maybe if he ever crossed over and appeared in some He-Man cartoons. That's about it. Look at the face on this guy. Man, he looks creepy. From what I understand, Hordak was based on like he was supposed to be like a vampire enemy. I could definitely see that. He definitely has that look, especially with all the bats and all that kind of stuff. The original Hordak came out in 1985. And, you know, this guy, like I said, he's just pretty awesome. You can move him all around just like every other guy. This, I don't know what you call this, like headdress or something like that. It doesn't really hinder the movement too much. I think on the original one, it kind of does, but this one, it works pretty well. I love that he actually has the Evil Horde armband, and I can't wait for the other guys to come out. Like, I'm a huge fan of Leech. I like him, and I really like Grizzlor, so I can't wait to see them in the brand new Origins line. I really like the rubber cape on him. Like, you don't always need soft rubber or soft goods, cloth capes or anything like that. A nice rubber cape will do a lot for you, and this one looks really awesome on his back. I saw somebody on Facebook didn't understand what this was about, because maybe they didn't have the original one, but you know, this to me always seemed kind of weird. Like, it's supposed to be a bow and arrow, or it's supposed to be a crossbow actually. And you know, you pop it in there, and then you're just supposed to pretend that like it's shooting at somebody by pushing. Let's see. Why does? There you go. That's all it's supposed to do. So here's the brand new Origins Hordak next to the original Hordak. And yeah, like, you know, there's some things on here like maybe you would want to maybe possibly paint the black more around his eyes to give him a more fuller black eye look, I guess. But in general, like, this may be blasphemy. So I warn you, I might say something a little controversial, but I like this head a lot more than that one. Like this one doesn't look that great. And like even in the cartoon when you see him, like he looked really awesome and then this I don't know, there's just something about it that I don't like it as much. And this one because it's like so clean and I don't know, I think it looks really great. Another thing is that I really cannot stand Hordak's legs. I feel like, you know, you always have problems with Masters of the Universe legs, but the way his are built, like he just falls over like all the time for me. And so I'm really happy that this guy has like the better build, you know, the better articulation setup where you don't have to worry about him just constantly tipping over. I usually have to put mine up against the wall. All right, so a lot of these details are very similar. Like you have the bones along the end of, or along the side of his armor. One thing that's missing here is that they didn't paint the little red triangles inside of here like the original one does. I feel like they should have did that because that really would have made it pop even more. The actual bat emblem on his chest is a little different. The way that the face looks on it is just a little different. This one looks more like Hordak, and this one looks more of like a bat skull or something. Like I said, the actual paint on the face is pretty different, but the actual like headdress or whatever you call this around his head is designed very similarly. You can move his head around, but I don't know. Let's see here. The bats on the new one are actually thought out a little more. Like you could actually see the Hordak face on them, and it looks like they have like actual arms or legs coming off of them, where the other one is more blobby in appearance. The armband is still pretty much the same. Yeah, I mean, they're similar, but still looks pretty neat. Now, the back here, the original cape is just like this very, very thin piece of rubber. So, like I'm always worried that this thing is going to rip out of here. So, like, I personally like this brand new one a lot more. And look at that. They did actually, the original one had the red wings painted on the back of the armor, and this new one does not. So, that's something that they probably could have did, but, you know, how many times are you going to lift this cape up? This is kept in here pretty tight, so I don't think this is going to fall out anytime soon or rip. This bat that goes around his wrist is actually very similar, like almost exact. Like it is very close, except this new one is very soft, and the old one is very, you know, it's pretty hard. But even the way that the you have like this little strap that goes around, it's very similar. Okay, now onto the crossbow. Now, the faces on this thing are actually very similar too. Like, they look very close. Even, like, some of these details on the original one are a little sharper. Like, this brand new one, they're a little soft. You have, like, a little bit of a, like, texture up here where you'd push down on your finger. This one doesn't really have that much. But, like, in general, it is a very faithful adaptation of this thing. It's very similar, except for, like, you know, this hook here. But whatever, that's fine. The actual design of the face is very similar, and I think you'd probably care more about something like that than the actual hook inside there. I had to pull out old Hurricane Hordak here to see how he compares with this face paint next to the Origins one. And like I said, like, you know, this one is a lot cleaner. I think it looks nicer than my original Hordak. But I don't know, there's just something I like about this Origins one. I don't know. They've really did an amazing job here copying the proportions of the original one, like the head and stuff like that. Even like how it's, like how thin it is, just matches up so perfectly. Yeah, like, I don't know, they're both really awesome, but I kind of like this brand new one more, just because of the extra detail on a lot of these bats, and the fact that you can actually make him stand without falling over, and the brand new cape. I don't know. This is one of those things where, like, sometimes these figures don't really do much to upgrade them, like the original ones, but I feel like this one actually is an upgrade of the original design. And last but not least, we have Stratos. And Stratos, the original one came out in 1982, which was the first wave of the entire line. He was one of the first figures we ever got. And, you know, as a kid, he was just, I don't know. I liked Stratos a lot because, you know, you would just pretend that he would be flying around. Like, you could really use your imagination with him. And, I don't know, he had such a weird design. I mean, he's like a monkey birdman. It's a little strange when you think about it. The details on Stratos is just awesome. Like all the hair in his beard, his super hairy chest. He's even got hairy legs and his hairy arms. He looks really cool. He actually looks very similar to the old one. And, you know, some of these things are a little easier than they on the original one. Like, all you have to do to put the wings on is you just got to fit it over the hand and boom, you got it there, you're good. The harness looks really good. And, you know, of course, the original Stratos came in both the blue harness and the red wings, or the red harness and the blue wings. This is how I always picture him, with the red backpack and the blue wings. But, you know, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who probably prefer getting the opposite color arrangement. But yeah, he looks very, very cool. So here's the brand new Origin Stratos next to the Retro Stratos. And, you know, like, they both look really awesome. They're both really well done. There's, like, something more, I don't know, the original one, the design of, like, the helmet, the head, and the hair, the eyes, and the mouth, and stuff like that, seems a little more dynamic than this new one. This new one is a little more flat in design. So you may prefer that, like, the way that the original one looked. Yeah, it definitely, I don't know if it gives him more of like a simian appearance, the way the old face was done. For one thing too, his hair and his chest, there's so many more strands of hair sculpted on the old one. Even there's like little strands of hair going over a six-pack, where this one is just kind of sculpted here a little bit, but it's very clean and nice. This one is a little more dirty, and it's just all over the place. Some things like these the feathers up here, you can make them out a lot more in the new one. The wings, I kind of like how the old ones, they're a little wider than this brand new one. Like, mine are, I never bent this piece over to put around his wrist because I'm always afraid that they're going to break. So I just have these rubber bands. I don't know where these, now the rubber bands are breaking because they're super old. And then on the old ones, you also have the straps going across the bicep that is completely missing from this new one. Which, you know, I think that you can actually lose them on the old one. Oh my gosh. Now I'm having some problems here. Look at this. My rubber band broke. Now the wing is falling all over the place. That stinks. So I'm going to have to get a new rubber band to put that on there. One thing that is kind of annoying about the old Stratos is just getting him to stand up. Like, the feet and the legs, I don't know. I have a hard time getting him to stand, more so than like a lot of the other He-Man toys. Him and Hordak. Jeez, that's 2 in a row now. Obviously the rockets on the back of this guy are completely different. Like, the style and the look of them are just very different. I kind of prefer the new ones because they're actually kind of on their own thing, where the old one, the strap is going right into the top of that rocket. But both are still pretty neat. I think the colors on this guy match the old one decently. Obviously, everything is brighter, but there's still nothing. It's not like the different kinds of greens like with TriKlops. Like these, this just looks like a brighter version of this blue. They're pretty similar. I do like how his harness is a lot bigger now. Like the old one, the straps are pretty thin, and I don't know. It just kind of makes it more. I don't know if you'd say realistic or just dynamic. There's something about it that kind of pops on him. But, you know, maybe the original head might be a little cooler just because it's... yeah, look at this. Look how thin he's got like a almost like a cone head. And that is Masters of the Universe Origins Wave 4. I really like this wave a lot. There was a lot of really cool things here. I like the upgrade of Hordak. I really loved getting Ninjor. And TriKlops and Stratos are awesome brand new versions of classic figures. I really like how in this line you actually had 3 villains this time. Lots of times I prefer the villains over the heroes. I mean, He-Man has a lot of really cool heroes too. Like, I can't wait to get Rio Blast in this style, but you know, you want a bunch of villains so that your good guys can fight all of them. And like I said, He-Man has some great looking villains. And you know, finally having a Ninjor is just awesome. Like this wave was really, really great. You know, I'm glad I picked this up. So thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. Did you order this? Are you going to order it? You should. That's what I have to say. Let me know and talk to you later.